New on Arrow Player and coming out on Blu-ray as well is The Snake Girl and the Silver-Haired Witch. This movie from 1968 that I'd never heard of before, that seems to be a rather underground cult movie that very few people have seen. Now the transfer is awesome. It's on the Arrow Player, which is where I watched it, because it's one of those movies that I was unsure about. The only clips I could find online were a little bit abstract and looked a little bit weird. Now this is really a child's fairy tale movie as we follow the main character of Sayuri, a young person who is in an orphanage at the start. Her father turns up, says he's going to take her home and live with them. There's a kind of convoluted reason as to why she's not been with the family. She goes home. Our father's into snakes. He studies them and he gets an urgent call that they've found a snake that he's been searching for most of his life. So he decides to leave Sayuri with her mother, the maids and the people in the household, and just, he'll come back to the family unit at some point. As soon as he leaves, things start to take a turn for the worst. We're introduced to a secondary character of Tamami, I think that's the name anyway, turns out to be Sayuri's half-sister or sister, who lives strangely in the attic, who seems to have these weird foibles about herself that just seems a little odd. And Sayuri, being openly happy to have this family, is just welcoming, even though Tamami's a little bit off-standish, not as welcoming to this young girl as she is to her. And then it becomes a little bit of nightmarish sequences as Sayuri starts to believe that Tamami is actually a snake person who's looking to eat her at the first possible opportunity. And it's this kind of twisted fairy tale logic that you see in lots of wonderful scenes and fantastic nightmare sequences that are really twisted and unusual. And to be honest, if this was aimed at kids, would probably give them nightmares. And you start to get this power relationship between Sayuri and Tamami, who Sayuri just happy to be there. Tamami wants all the kind of focus on her and starts to belittle and berate and break the trust of everyone else about Sayuri. Even though she wants to be part of this family unit, she feels herself being subjugated and pushed down. And that's before the silver-haired witch even comes into the movie later on. And I love these kind of movies. There is solid reasoning behind what is happening and why it's happening. Could it be that it's child fantasies or nightmares that are causing most of it? Could there be that there's a secondary reason as to why things are happening? Most definitely a little bit of both. And you get these wonderful characters, you get these wonderful situations that can be frustrating at certain points. You're like, oh, don't do that, but it's a child doing these things without the kind of adult reasoning that you would need to understand and see these things. She's a hopeful and positive character, so you're following her on her journey and you're wanting her to do the best that she can. She's obviously very happy, very gracious to be included back into this family unit, and she's not wanting to rock the boat too much, but she knows that there's something very wrong going on. The Snake Girl and the Silver-Haired Witch is a movie that I don't want to go into too much. I've gave you the basic setup for this and what's going on, but there's more to it. And even at its quick runtime of just over an hour and 20 minutes, it packs a lot into it. It gives you some wonderful characters, it gives you some horrible situations, some really terrifically abstract nightmare sequences, and it gives you a mystery at the heart of it as well. There's a wonderful reveal at the end where everything is explained for what it is, and that's really well thought out and adds a lot to this. This is one of the better Arrow films I've heard or seen of in recent years. I'm assuming that this one's going to be kind of universally loved because it's just a great movie and something that I highly recommend checking out. If you have the Arrow player, definitely watch it. It's something that I will definitely consider picking up on Blu-ray at some point because I would like this in my collection. It's something that I think is really unique, really fun, very different. I'd love to know your thoughts on Snake Girl and the Silver-Haired Witch. Let me know in the comment box below, and as always, there's videos that you can click on if you want to see more of my content, or you can like, Subscribe, share this video, it all helps. Or if you want, you can join the membership program. That really helps me out, surprisingly so. Or Patreon if you want to just give me a little bit of extra support. It's all appreciated, and I'll see you next time on Man v Film.